Welcome to World History in the West. The topic for this week is the Napoleonic era. Please consider the following central question as we progress through the lecture and the material of the week. Was the authoritarian rule of Napoleon justified in order to stabilize France following the chaos of the French Revolution? Introduction. Much has been written about the exploits of Napoleon. Was he a hero? Should he be considered a villain? Regardless, Napoleon had a significant impact on France and Europe. His military advances reclaimed the lives of many. France would again rise as a power within Europe. And Napoleon's system of administration, known as the Napoleonic Code, would change the way that governments function. Lecture context. Location, France and all of Europe. When, 1799 to 1815. Lecture topics, Napoleon during the French Revolution, the coup d'etat, conquering and capturing, and the legacy of Napoleon. The central question for the week, was the authoritarian rule of Napoleon justified in order to stabilize France following the chaos of the French Revolution? The broader picture. The Enlightenment paved the way for the American Revolution and the French Revolution. Napoleon would take advantage of a destabilized France to gain power in 1799. During this entire time, European nations continued to build their empires around the world. Napoleon and the Revolution. Early in the Revolution, Napoleon served as a minor officer. He sympathized with the Jacobins, and once they gained power, he was made a brigadier general and given the command of artillery units in France and Italy. The fall of the Jacobins in 1794 created uncertainty for Napoleon's career. He volunteered his services to the new Directory. He was given command of an army to fight Austrian power in northern Italy. He defeated the Austrians and determined the terms of the treaty. He also set up the government structure within northern Italy. Napoleon takes power. The Directory had maintained power but was continually confronted with challenges. The Directory was made up of 5 directors elected by Parliament. They succeeded the Jacobins in 1794. They were Republicans, which means they did not support a monarchy, from the center and were dominated by the Girondins. They were not radicals as the Jacobins had been. By 1799, their support was declining. One of the directors, Abbe Sieyès, along with Napoleon's brother Lucien, organized a coup d'etat, which means a government takeover. The new government was authoritarian, but supported all the principles of the revolution. Napoleon takes power. The new leader, or first consul, was Napoleon. He would later on take on the title of emperor. Napoleon's military exploits had earned him great popularity with the French population. His rule would result in both stability and war for France. The political impact of Napoleon. The Napoleonic Code. This was a unified set of laws applied to all of France and later all conquered areas. It resulted in a very efficient bureaucracy and affirmed freedom of conscience, the supremacy of the state, everyone was equal under the law, and also property rights. The Napoleonic Code was a compromise between the old and the new ways of governing, and incorporated many new liberal policies. Government administration was more streamlined, and this system was also applied to conquered areas who often continued this system of law after the fall of Napoleon. The Concordat of 1801. Napoleon healed the relations between France and the Catholic Church. Some major changes. French state will pay the clergy. Clergy responsible to the Pope. France retains church properties. The Pope approves Napoleon's regime. The Pope actually appointed Napoleon in this extravagant ceremony. And in this ceremony, Napoleon took the crown from the Pope to crown himself as a symbol of the separation between the Church and France. Another major change was that papal bulls would not apply to France. A papal bull was a directive specifically from the Pope. Peace in Europe. Following war with the Austrians in 1801, a treaty was signed. France gained control of Italian and German states. This effectively ended the Holy Roman Empire, which had existed since 962. The Holy Roman Empire had never succeeded in re-establishing the western half of the original Roman Empire. In 1802, Napoleon secured peace with Britain. Europe and France were finally at peace after over 10 years of war. But this would not last. Napoleon's insatiable appetite for war and gaining new lands could not be suppressed. The Continental System. Peace did not last long. In 1803, war started again with Britain. In an effort to cripple Britain financially, Napoleon implemented the Continental System. All of France and the areas she controlled would boycott British export products. Ultimately, the plan failed. Napoleon had planned to first cripple Britain financially and then launch an invasion of the island. Opposition to Napoleon in occupied countries rose particularly in the German and Italian states, as well as Russia. Russia, under Tsar Alexander I, refused to implement the Continental System, and Napoleon would soon invade their country, which would become arguably his biggest mistake. The Russian Campaign. Russia refused to comply with the Continental System, and as a result incurred Napoleon's anger. In 1812, Napoleon assembled his Grand Army comprised of over 600,000 soldiers and invaded Russia. France invaded in the summer and gained considerable land, all a part of a Russian strategy. The Russians retreated and waited for winter. When Napoleon arrived in Moscow, the city was on fire. His army could not stay the winter and retreated with mass deaths resulting from the cold. In the end, only 50,000 French soldiers returned. Napoleon's Europe. The invasion of Russia was a huge mistake. Napoleon's army could not withstand the Russian winter, nor the distance their supply lines were extended to, a mistake Hitler would also make in the future. In addition, the Peninsular War in Spain waged on from 1807 to 1814. Napoleon's first defeat. Following the disastrous Russian campaign, Napoleon's forces were surrounded at the city of Leipzig in 1813. Leipzig is located in present-day Germany. The Battle of Leipzig was also known as the Battle of Nations. At the same time, resistance was growing in French-occupied Spain, where Napoleon had allocated considerable resources to quell the rebellion. Ultimately, after Leipzig, Napoleon was able to retreat with his army back into France. However, by March of 1814, France had been invaded and Napoleon was captured in Paris. The first defeat of Napoleon. Napoleon was handed over by the French and exiled to the island of Elba. The Treaty of Fontainebleau determined Napoleon's incarceration. He was given the rather demeaning title Emperor of Elba, along with a small army and navy. He reorganized every aspect of Elba for the 12,000 inhabitants. The new government of France became a constitutional monarchy under King Louis XVIII. The Bourbon dynasty again came to power. However, this was not the same style of monarchy as before. The powers of the king were now limited by the constitution. The Congress of Vienna. In 1815, leaders of the victorious nations met together to determine the future of France. At Vienna, the leaders wanted to avoid another rise of France, maintain unity amongst German states, and divide up Napoleon's former lands evenly. While they were in dialogue, news arrived that Napoleon had escaped from the island of Elba and was marching with his supporters to Paris. The leaders decided to raise a unified force under the Duke of Wellington to defeat Napoleon once and for all. The 100 Days. After escaping from Elba, he assembled a new army and continued his march north. His former soldiers had been sent to stop him by the king. However, when they met him, they refused to fire on him and instead joined him. Napoleon and his gathering forces took Paris without a shot being fired, and Louis XVIII fled. Back in power, Napoleon further consolidated power and even made changes to the constitution. The Battle of Waterloo. Napoleon reignited his conquest of Europe by invading Belgium in June of 1815, and soon defeated the Austrian forces. Continuing his advances, his forces were surrounded at Waterloo, Belgium, and defeated by coalition forces led by the Duke of Wellington. Napoleon's forces were outnumbered, and he made a number of tactical errors, allowing the opposing forces to organize and advance. Napoleon's new home. Napoleon was captured and exiled to the South Atlantic island of St. Helena. This remote location would make any escape attempt extremely difficult. The Allied forces were reluctant to execute him and create a martyr. After 6 years on the island, he would die under rather suspicious circumstances. In 1840, his body would be returned to Paris and entombed at Les Invalides. The new peace terms. The leaders of the Allied forces reconvened to determine the terms of the new treaty, known as the Second Peace of Paris. The new terms were more severe. France lost more territory, war damage payments had to be paid, and until payments were made, France would be occupied. Here's a summary of Napoleon's rise and fall. In the 1790s, Napoleon experienced great military success. In 1799, he staged a coup d'état to take over government. He was named first consul and later emperor. War with Britain and also with Russia ensued. By 1814, he had been captured, and then he escaped from the island of Elba. Following his escape in 1815 was a time known as the 100 Days. Following this, he would be defeated at the Battle of Waterloo. The lasting impact of Napoleon. Here are a few items to consider when evaluating Napoleon's legacy. The Napoleonic Code was a very efficient system of governing. The emergence of the secular state placed limitations on the power of the Catholic Church. Napoleon's wars resulted in mass death and casualties. He did bring about stability in France in a chaotic time. Following the Second Treaty, there was no pan-European war for nearly 100 years. The new European powers that emerged were Britain, Russia, Prussia, and Austria. Britain was the more liberal of the four countries. Conclusions. A pan-European war of the scale during the Napoleonic era would not come again for nearly 100 years, and that would be World War I. Napoleon's advances across Europe and beyond would leave a trail of devastation, but his impact would be far greater than just the battlefield. His policies and system of administration would remain in place long after his defeat.